My name is Jenny Darwin and I play fourth horn with the Lake Geneva Symphony Orchestra. Today we are going to talk about a French horn technique called stapped horn. Composers will use stapped horn in a variety of ways in orchestra or band music or even solo works to create a buzzy or kind of a bold French horn sound. Some composers use it as an echo, and I will describe that for you in a little bit. As a French horn player, you will probably see stapped horn come into your music around late middle school, definitely in high school, band and orchestra, and then we play a lot of stapped horn in the Lake Geneva Symphony, and you will find it in Mahler, Tchaikovsky, Rimsky-Korsakov, and a ton of other composers. So, here's how we do it. We're going to start on G, above middle C, so open G. And one thing I want you to really think about is your hand position. We want to make sure we have our great hand position. I think of it like a princess wave. So our fingers are completely together, and then it's kind of a cupped shape. Make sure we have that at the top of our bell. And that way, when we go to our stapped horn, we'll just be able to seal it off. All right? So I'm going to play our G above middle C. Now, to get stapped horn, we need to close off the bell and seal it so that the air cannot escape from it. So you'll notice that the pitch has changed when I close off the bell. So to compensate for that, we need to change our fingers. So if I see in my music a G written, then I need to lower the pitch by half a step. So then I'm going to play an F sharp. So when I close off my hand position, it needs to be pretty fast. You'll find in a lot of music, you'll be open, and you'll need to go to stapped horn really fast, so you don't have time to adjust. Make sure that we are just closing it and sealing it off. We're not trying to stuff it in, because then we're going to get a really sharp sound and it will be a little muffled. We still want to keep a nice space in there. Think of using the heel of your hand to create that seal. We are going to practice by doing 4 open Gs and then taking a breath, sealing it, and then playing 4 stapped Gs with F sharp as your finger. So here are the 4 open Gs. As you practice stapped horn, I would recommend using a tuner. That way you will make sure that you are hitting the right partial and working on creating that good tuning even though we are stapped. You want to use a ton of air, more than you think, to do stapped horn. That will create that nice brassy tone. And even if you have a passage where they want you to be piano and stapped horn, you're still going to need to use a lot of air. So when you have stapped horn in your music, it will be written the note it would like you to sound, but you need to make sure to transpose it down a half step in order to get that correct pitch to come out. It will also be labeled by saying stapped. There might be a plus sign above it, or gestoppt.
Here are examples of what that would look like in your music. Here's an example of Mahler 1, and you can see gestoppt written in the horn part.
There is some solo works that feature stapped horn, and what I'm going to play for you is Morceau de Concert by Camille Saint-Saëns, and in his Adagio movement, it does feature a very prominent stapped horn part, which is used more as an echo rather than the brassy part that other composers use stapped horn for. So you'll hear it open first, and then it immediately goes after to stapped horn with the echo. There are many examples of stapped horn used in the orchestral setting. Mahler, all of his symphonies feature stapped horn. You'll hear it in Tchaikovsky symphonies, and even band literature Lincolnshire Posey has some stopped horn going on, and a lot of the modern day band composers use it to create that brassy, buzzy tone. So I'm going to play examples of just what brass stopped horn sounds like. And then here's another brassy stopped horn example. Depending on the stopped notes that you need to play, you might need to use an alternate fingering to create the best tuning for your unique horn. Every horn is a little different, and sometimes an alternate fingering is the best way to go for that. As you are working with a tuner and figuring out your stopped horn, if you are having a hard time staying in tune, I'd recommend checking your hand position, because that is going to have a lot of change in how that will work. So make sure you're starting with a good hand position. Remember, we don't hold it like this. As a beginning horn player, your band director might have told you that was okay, and it is when you are a very, very beginner and your horn is so big to you. But as we advance, we want to make sure we are holding it in the right place. And then when we go stopped horn, you just want to practice sealing it off. And that will just come with practice, and you'll get better and better as you work on it. They do make stopped horn mutes, but we can create that same sound by using our hand. And I do want you to be aware that stopped horn is different than a horn mute. So if your music says mute, this is different than stopped horn. Thank you for watching. Take care.